Hi, quick announcements that middle school youth group via Zoom this Tuesday at 7 o'clock. No high school youth group this Wednesday via Zoom. And then Baccalaureate is this Friday, 6:30 to 7:30 via YouTube Live. Check it out. Last week we talked about Mark chapter 11, 12, and 13. I know that's a lot, but I started by asking this question. When you said yes to Jesus, did you really know what you were doing? When you said yes, I want to follow Jesus. Now, when I remember when I was going to church camp for the first time, going into my 7th grade year, I heard this speaker last night at camp said, you need to invite Jesus Christ into your life. Ask him into your heart. And I'd never heard that before. So I went back to my cabin that night and prayed the prayer, Lord, come into my heart, or something like that. And I just fell asleep. Nothing happened. But I don't know if that even counts as saying yes to following Jesus. But I know one thing. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. Now, Jesus enters Jerusalem, and you can just feel the revolution that was in the air at that time. But Jesus wanted to do a mini revolution in their hearts and in my heart. And so I didn't know that Jesus wants to rule and reign in my heart. And the religious leaders, maybe they wanted God to rule and reign, but they wanted him to do it their way. And so then you have this instant confrontation. Those religious leaders wanted to destroy him. And another thing I didn't realize, with all the questions that came with following Jesus, questions that I had, questions that other people were asking me. So then the religious leaders were on the attack, wanting to ask Jesus questions. So the religious leaders were like, where'd you get this authority? Then the Pharisees asking a question about taxes, the Sadducees about the resurrection, the scribes about the law. And then Jesus has the last word and says, hey, he asks a question, who do you think the Messiah is? And then I didn't know following Jesus was about doing justice. And then we talked about the widow, the poor widow who was oppressed, and then that it might get difficult, really hard one day. And I found this verse encouraging. Mark 13:13, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but the one who endures to the end will be saved. Because following Jesus, it's awesome. It's fun sometimes, but it's also very hard, and people will make fun of you. People are going to ask you all kinds of questions. It's about God ruling and reigning in your heart. And then maybe you'll have to, it might cause, you might be persecuted, lose your life over it. But man, it is worth it to follow Jesus, say yes to him.